You in Philly against the Eagles. RG3 impressed with his play this preseason, so much so that Cleveland players voted him as a team captain. Cleveland is a 3.5-point road underdog. Mark, how important is this game for RG3 and those Browns?
I think it's really...
Oh, I'm sorry, Max. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to start with you.
Max. I apologize. Go ahead, Mark.
No. Go ahead, Max.
No. I will not talk before Mark Schletter.
You're going to...
Football out of the question.
Somebody better talk before I start.
Right. That's it. That's a great point by you, Max. Listen, I think it's hugely important for RG3 to come out here and play well. I don't care what you say. You look at this team, one of the youngest, if not the youngest team in the National Football League in Cleveland. I think they have 18 guys. All 14 of their rookies, for crying out loud, made this team. Their roster is turned over. They realize the errors of their ways and their former first-round draft choices. But RG3 is on this path right now to redeem his career. He started off great in Washington, was injured, didn't like the offense. He has done a great job of maturing, of accepting responsibility. Yeah, they have a bit of a diminished squad when you talk about just the pure overall talent, but this is his opportunity to show that he is the quarterback he started out to be, as opposed to the one who got benched, who, his coaches called out on several different occasions. This is a very important start for RG3 to get on that redemption tour and get his career back.
There's no question. I think it's a great start for him. I understand it, but we need to see what he can do. I mean, he got named the captain the other day. That's nice. You still got some play. I mean, having Josh Gordon, even though he's going to be suspended for the first few games, he's not going to be there, but still in all, ultimately having him in that lineup, Duke Johnson in the backfield, we'll see what Kroll and those other guys are able to do. That's fine. Questions about their defense. Question what kind of situation the offense is going to be put in because of the defense. Then you got a new coach, new system, RG3, new home. I think the captain's title was pivotal for him because it's showing that the organization and the players inside that locker room has some faith in him. And what I said to Max yesterday, Mark, was this. Does anybody really sit back and take a time to realize the kind of situation RG3 must have been in last year? He didn't just, it wasn't just that he didn't play, wasn't even allowed to wear the uniform.
Right. Let me just tell you from my perspective, because I have talked to him on a bunch of different occasions, and he's a guy that I have a soft spot for. He was not liked in Washington. And one of the reasons is because he was the ultimate French waiter. We have to be better. We have to block better. We have to do this.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear that from your quarterback. You have to take 100% of the blame when things don't go well, and you have to defer 100% of the credit at that position when things do go well. And he didn't understand that. And we have had these discussions. I remember a preseason game 2 years ago in Detroit where he gave up some sacks, he gave up a couple of hits. People were criticizing the offensive line, and it was him not understanding who was hot and who was not, and who that offensive line had to pick up and who they were turning loose. And he took those hits, and after that game, the post-game press conference, he's like, well, we just need to block it better up front. No. You need to understand who's blocked and who's not blocked, and if you make that mistake, then you have to stand up and take responsibility. And to his credit, man, that kid has matured. That kid has taken responsibility. He kept his mouth shut in a tough situation, like you mentioned, all last year. I, for one, am rooting for RG3 to resurrect his career and play well. But you know what,
and I'm going to let Max get in here, it shouldn't be that difficult week one. And what I mean by that is the Eagles, there's a lot of question marks. Now, the defense, I think, is going to show up and it's going to be exponentially better simply because last year Chip Kelly put him in an untenable situation because of how he ran his offense and wasn't giving the defense any breaks, just threw him to the wolves, time of possession, all of that stuff. The flip side to it is that even though the defense is going to be better, offensively, with the #2 overall pick out of North Dakota State, Division I AA, his first career start, RG3 needs to show up because that offense shouldn't be able to do but so much against Cleveland.
And by the way, and Max, I'll let you jump in here. And by the way, this is the Carson Wentz Bowl because it was Cleveland who decided, yeah, we don't need that quarterback. We need other things.
Yes.
We'll move on and get more draft choices. So they're the ones that made that trade so that Philadelphia could get up to #2 and get Carson Wentz. So this is a Carson Wentz Bowl.
Go ahead, Max.
I love what you said about RG3, Mark. There's nothing better in sports than watching someone mature before our eyes, a guy who came in riding high and then is humbled by the game and other factors and maybe his own hubris, really internalized the lessons he's learned and become better for it. Who doesn't love to see that? But I think I can't overstate how big a game this is for the Cleveland Browns franchise, because this is a winnable game. This is a bad Eagles team with a rookie quarterback with 2 bad ribs. This is a team that is beatable at home. If the Cleveland Browns, without Josh Gordon, because once Josh Gordon gets back, I expect to see real things from RG3. But even without Josh Gordon, with Barnage and these guys, if they can go on the road and steal a win week 1, this is a team that plenty of people are saying is going to go winless this year. Do you understand what the Cleveland Browns franchise means to that area? I mean, they lost their franchise. Art Modell takes him to Baltimore. They lose the franchise, and out of a grassroots movement. This wasn't like orchestrated in some corporate way, astroturfed or something. This was a grassroots movement where the dog pound and these guys got together and demanded that they bring the Cleveland Browns back. And they didn't win, like they lost the franchise, but they were so adamant, so persistent, their passion was so obvious that the league awards them a franchise, an expansion franchise, and they got to keep the history of the franchise. You know, Jim Brown and them, they're not Ravens, they're Browns. It's really, for all intents and purposes, the same franchise. That team, that area loves the Cleveland Browns in a way not all areas love their football team, and they, instead of being rewarded for it, they've been consistently punished for it. For them to go out on the road, RG3 redemption story, and get a winnable game on the road to start the season would be huge, not just for RG3, but for Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. It'd be huge for Cleveland, and I think they have the right guy in place. I think they have the right guy in Hugh Jackson in place, and we know that they have just obliterated. They have been horrible when it comes to first-round draft choices. Well, they've purged all those guys. They've gotten rid of those guys. They're going in a new direction. It'd be a gigantic win for the Cleveland Browns.
No question. Marky Mark, always good to see you.
It is my pleasure.
NFL Live later with Teddy Bruschi.
Yeah, and I'll be checking for the apology.
It's not coming.
Keep waiting.
It's not coming.
This guy, please.
Yeah, no, the field goal kicker doesn't do his job, and I'm supposed to apologize for that?
Yes.
You should have lost by 2.
He didn't do his job twice. He did it once, just not twice. See what I deal with
people even on a Friday. Coming up next, will Dak and Zeke be able to knock off the G-Men this weekend? I think not, but guess what? I'm not debating. The guys will tell you after the break. Guess what, people? It doesn't get much better than this. The New York Football Giants and Dallas Cowboys squaring off in Jerry's world. The Giants open up their wallet, spending over $200 million trying to beef up their defense. On the other side, Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott are poised to become the franchise's first Week 1 rookie quarterback running back combo in the starting lineup since, listen to this, Roger Staubach and Calvin Hill in '69. Oh, Max. What do you expect from Dak against your Giants on Sunday?
Dak's going to get some things done, and so will the Cowboys, but ultimately it won't be enough. Look, this Giants team is better than given credit for, not just because I'm a Giants fan. It's not like I'm picking them to win the Super Bowl, but they were 6-10 last year and had a bunch of losses with 75 seconds to go, which is uncharacteristic of that team. That team generally plays very well in the fourth quarter, especially Eli Manning, and a lot of the reason they were having problems seemed to be clock management, maybe one of the reasons Tom Coughlin lost his job. I expect Eli Manning in the same offense now another year to be better. No more Reuben Randall. Shepard should be a much better route runner. They really improved the defensive line and the corners. They're actually really good on the defensive line and good in the secondary, at least with their corners, maybe even elite with the corners, and let's see how Eli Apple plays, but they're soft at linebacker and they're soft at safety. So the middle of the field with Jason Witten, he should have a big day. Dak Prescott, a rookie quarterback playing behind, who's shown some stuff in the preseason, playing behind maybe the best offensive line in football. I'd say they are. A really good running game, you would presume, with Ezekiel Elliott. He's going to get some things done with Jason Witten. Ultimately, I do not think it will be enough to beat the Giants.
I think it will. And I'm reluctant to say that because I don't want my sister Linda beating up on me. Actually, I'm not fearful about y'all as Giants fans. I have a few Giants fans in my home, mainly my sister Linda, my oldest sister.
Get him, Linda.
And I am worried about her.
I always liked Linda more than you.
Linda will beat me down. You like everybody more than me, but that's a story for another day. Here's the deal.
That's true.
In the end, we think about Damon Harrison. You know he can defend against the run. You think about Olivia Vernon. You think about this Janoris Jenkins. We think about the $200 million they spent on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not sure about the Giants' offensive line. I'm not sure about their running game. Actually, I'm pretty sure about their running game. If this game was in East Rutherford, New Jersey, I would be more confident. And I know Eli has a history of beating Dallas in Dallas. I know. I don't underestimate that. But something is just telling me, look, y'all know how much I can't stand the Cowboys, but there's something that's telling me right now that this particular game, I really, really believe. I didn't like what I saw from the Giants in the preseason. I watched their whole game against Buffalo. I was completely disgusted with how inept their offense looked. I think this is one of those games where they're going to have that kind of struggle, and much to the chagrin of my sister, I'm going to pick against the Giants, and I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowboys to win on opening day in Dallas, Texas at Jerry World.
When you talk about the offensive line for the Giants, look, it's been an issue in recent years. When they had their great success in their couple of Super Bowls a couple of years back in that 4-year span, the offensive line was a real strength of the team. And it's not like there was some superstar left tackle that they drafted high. They just played. They were all a bunch of like B-pluses and better and played really well together as a unit. That has not been the case. It's been the opposite in recent years. They've had a real problem at left tackle, especially. I think Flowers may have been the most talented guy in the draft last year, but it really is a skills position, particularly left tackle. He's only 22. He has a ways to go. He got blown up bad in the preseason. He wasn't any good last year. That's going to take some time. It's one of the reasons, though, that you like the Giants offense, where Eli's just getting rid of the ball really quickly. It's one of the reasons that Shepard, a guy who can run much better routes, obviously, than a guy like Randall, is going to be really good for the team. And when you look at how they're going to be able to block in the middle, pretty good. I mean, they spent second-round picks, Pugh and Richburg and these guys, and they're pretty good. They remind me of the kind of offensive linemen that the Giants had when they had success.
Well, listen, you could say that, and we certainly can't deny that. I mean, when you look at Justin Pugh to move from right tackle to left tackle, that worked out for them. I got to give them credit for that. This kid, Richburg, moved from left tackle to center. I got to give them credit for that. They seem to be doing a good job, but we don't see a running game, materializing from it. So if you don't have the running game, I'm looking at this kid, Sterling Shepard, out of Oklahoma. I like him. But at the same time, you're a rookie. What am I anticipating? What am I expecting you to do? Ruben Randall, thank God he was gone because he was running wrong routes, dropping passes. But in the end, it comes down to the same old Giants. Their defense is not stout. It's a bit suspect, and offensively, it's all about Eli in the passing game because of no running game to speak of. And I don't think you win a game like that against Dallas. I know we got to go, so I'm going to leave it go.
Not to put too much on Shepard, who people felt was a steal when the Giants got him, but if he can produce, all of a sudden, the way they treat Odell Beckham Jr., which is to give every bit of resource on the defense to cover him, to bracket him, do it. All of a sudden, that goes away a little bit, and then look out. A lot does, unfortunately, ride for the Giants on a rookie, slot receiver.
I got it.
You know who I'm rolling with in this conversation? The very wise Max Kellerman. We'll talk on Monday. It was a year to forget for Andrew Luck in the Colts. Will they bounce back and make the playoffs this year? The guys will debate that one after the break.